Hey y'all, it's Chris with Stars Go Dim on the CCM Cafe. Look at this. Where's the coffee at? Is there? So, brand new record out called Grace in the Wilderness. It released, I guess, April 29th of 2022, which seems crazy to me that that's the year we're in. But yeah, most of these songs were written in, late 2019, early 2020. We recorded the record during COVID and all of that, and actually finished it in like March-ish of 2021. So we've been sitting on the finished product for a year. So talk about like birthing pains and expectation and all of those things. I've been just so expectant for this music and these songs. And I think a lot of times for us, by the time records come out, we get tired of the songs. And one of the really special things about this record that I've tried to hold on to, one is the feeling that I had the first time I listened to the songs. And honestly, I can put the record on right now and still feel that. I'm still very excited about these songs. I think it's some of the best music that I've ever written, honestly, and some of the best songs. I think we finally got this mixture of content and style put together really well. So if you like pop music and you're a Christian and like really positive kind of encouraging content, I think you love this record. There's some really fun songs. There's some real serious songs. There's some songs that mean a whole lot to me on it, and I'm just finally really excited for it to be out in the world. This is a sneak peek into my personality. I played basketball in college and high school, and like that was my life before music. I thought I was going to be in the NBA, but then I only grew to like 6 foot, 6'1"-ish, and was just average. So my dreams went away. But in high school, we were the worst. Okay, the very worst team, and we would go out and we lost almost every game. And I would get really upset about it. I mean, couldn't talk to me for days. I think my senior year we won 6 games or something, and we'd win a game after not winning any, and I'd just walk off and be like, "That's what I came to do." I wouldn't celebrate it. I wouldn't, be really excited about it. And so I feel like I've done that in music a lot. When I see some of that stuff, I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm trying to do." So one of the things I really love about my wife is she's a celebrator. And she tends to force me to celebrate because I'm so bad at it. So one of the things I'm trying to do, especially with this record, is let those moments soak in. And so when the record came out and there were billboards all over Nashville with my face on them, I was like, what is this, So I just try to really appreciate it. And also I think, there have been moments when success has found me and I haven't appreciated it. And after being in this industry as long as I've been in it, to have those moments where people can acknowledge you and to receive that well, I think is really important, and to appreciate it as it comes. So I try to sink in it a little bit and live into it a little bit more maybe than I did when I was younger. If you guys don't know, Stars started in 2007 as a mainstream pop band. So we played with, the biggest artists in the world for many years and all over the world. And so then came into doing Christian music in 2015, 16. You Are Loved is our first song, and that's probably where a lot of you guys learned about us. But there's a whole lot of other fans that knew us from, love songs from 2009, So it was a weird kind of thing. And to be honest, when I came in, the label just said, "Hey, we think that there's value in this name, so keep it." And I didn't know any better. And so I said, okay. And so every record, there has been a conversation of, is this the record that is a Chris Cleveland record? And I don't know. I think it's still kind of a balance. I do think it confuses people sometimes. And band names are all weird until they're not. Like Led Zeppelin, dumb name. U2, who cares? You know what I mean? Until somebody makes it cool. Like Stars Go Dim is the silliest name in the world. I don't know why we came up with it. But I don't know. I think there's something about it that I still love and maybe it's a personal thing where you guys can know my songs and not know my face, and so there's a little bit of that I like, and then my brain starts kicking in and saying, hey, that's not very good for your career. People need to know who you are. And so who knows, maybe the next record will be a Chris Cleveland record. But we haven't decided. My wife has been telling me for years to drop the band name, and so maybe one day I'll listen to her. We'll see how it goes. I was saying earlier, I write for a lot of other people as well, so I'm constantly writing. So I bet I have, over the last, just this year, I've probably written 50, 60 songs. I bet you I've got a list of 100 songs I go through. I could have given you, honestly, 3 records from the songs I had for Grace in the Wilderness. But the label wouldn't let me. So yeah, I have a ton of music, and honestly, it's made it hard with Grace in the Wilderness. Like, and not to get like crazy deep into like radio and single cycles and that kind of thing, but I literally went to our radio team and said, "Hey, choose the radio singles because you can have any of the 13 songs. I believe in all of them that much." And that's what we've done. That's kind of what we've done. And I've never, usually records come in and 2 or 3 songs maybe kind of rise to the top, and then you move on. This record, I'm going to be sad because I know there's 6 or 7 songs I'd really like people to hear, like really, really like people to hear that I know probably they'll miss because they won't be on radio. So if I was smart, I would have spread that out over about 4 records, but I just wanted to give you what was in my brain at once. And so, yeah, got a lot of music sitting and waiting, but like always, those songs will find homes, and maybe they're mine, maybe they're other people's, but we want to support this record really well, and we'll do that over the next year or so, and hopefully have new music as well coming down the pipe for you guys when it's time. A lot of times for me, the deep cuts are like my favorites, the ones that you guys haven't heard on the radio. So like our first record, there was a song called See You that probably no one heard that I loved. Our second record, oh gosh, maybe It's Gonna Get Better was my favorite, which went to radio but didn't do great, which is fine. And this record, there's a song called Live Like That. I think it's track 4 or 5 on the record, and I just feel like it's the most me song on there. And all these songs kind of are pieces of me in different ways, but it's just really honest and saying, hey, can we shed all of these thoughts and all of these voices in our minds that have literally locked us in prison cells, and can we live our lives like we're seeing ourselves through heaven's eyes? And I love it. It's such a good song. There's another song called This Is Love that I'm just singing the heck out of it, and I'm a big singer, so it's the only thing I kind of claim. I can play piano pretty well and guitar. I can fake it till I make it, but especially in Nashville, I'm like, okay, I can sing. I know I can do that. And I don't think necessarily my records have portrayed that as much as like my live shows. And take this for what you think, but I started getting frustrated because people would come to me at live shows and be like, oh wow, you're a way better singer live than you on your records. Which, that's like a great compliment, and I'll take it all the time. And usually it's the other way around, and I never want to be there. So I tried really hard on all of these songs to give you great vocals, and so I'm really proud of what we did. So This Is Love, it's the first track on there. I'm hollering at y'all. So check that one out, and you'll know what I mean. So on tour right now with Sanctus Real and Tim Timmons, which is one of my favorite tours I've ever been on, because Dustin and I from Sanctus, we write together all the time and for different artists, and Tim Timmons and I are like best friends. We do podcasts and radio show and all these things together, and so we spend way too much time together. Anyways, so we're like, well, why don't we spend time together away from home too? And it's just nice. Music has kind of come back to the middle class of Christian music, like the tours have, and there for a little while it was a little rough. So these shows have been packed. There's no egos, and there's just no drama, and it's just friends hanging out, and it's been such a fun time. Tim is literally one of the best at what he does. And the Sanctus guys have had some really great songs at radio recently, and so I'm so happy to see the success that they're having. So yeah, we've got one more weekend of this that we're going to wrap up this weekend, and I'm trying my hardest to convince them to do another run in the fall. So it's not official yet, but I'm hoping by the end of this run that we'll have that locked in. And so you guys stay with us and see where we'll be, because I think we'll be able to put a bunch of dates on the calendar for this fall. And so yeah, I was born with a tumor called cholesteatoma in my left ear. At 18 months old, had my first surgery, had another surgery every year until I was, I think, 12 or so. I kind of lost count of the surgeries. It was 14, 16, somewhere in there. So if you look at me real squarely, you can tell my right ear sticks out a little further than my left one, because this one's been cut off about 15 times and sewn back on. But my mechanical functioning in my ear doesn't work, which means the sound waves can't get from out here to my inner ear. And it's always been like that. And so I've had, the only way that you might know is sometimes I talk out of the side of my mouth a little bit, and because of some facial nerve things, because it's all real tight in there. But one, I've never known the difference. And so I think sometimes people are really astounded that I can do that or figure it out. And honestly, there's been times when I was like, I would be a little scared to be able to hear, because I don't know if it would screw me up, But there's also people who hear about this and are really, really well intentioned, and so many people want to pray for me and believe for healing for me, and which I'm always for. There have been moments when I've felt some guilt and a little bit of awkwardness in those interactions, because it's happened so many times, and I haven't been healed, and I feel bad for the people, because I don't feel bad for myself, but I feel bad for the people who are coming, because they're so expectant and they believe so much, and I've wrestled with that back and forth, and I've talked to some people like my friend Tim Timmons, who has cancer, and somehow has lived 22 years with incurable cancer that they said he would live 5 for. And so it's a really interesting balance there, but I truly believe there is a testimony in it. And I think for me, maybe the stronger testimony is not the healing, but the stronger testimony is the platform and the ability that God has given me, and the voice that He's given me to use, even through disability. And so that's at least a perspective that I try to keep. But it does make for monitoring situations and in-ears and all that kind of stuff kind of strange, because I have to be really specific on how I hear, or my voice will go away, and I can sing badly if I'm not hearing the right thing. So I never put a monitor on my good ear side. I always put it on my bad ear side, so I protect that ear. In my in-ears, which are little headphones that we put in when we're on stage, I always put way too much reverb on my voice, so it sounds like I'm in a big cave, and normal people I don't think could handle it, but it kind of helps me do it. So I have to do a few little tricks to make it work, but yeah, I've always been this way. It's always been that way, and hopefully it can be a testimony for what's possible, and when you step into your calling. And so, yeah.